Good morning, kids, and welcome to another episode of Fox Flicks On Game Theory. Welcome to your nightmail, a theory on Garten of Banban, Chapter 6. And yes, I have heard the news that after these few theories, MatPat will no longer be the host of the channels. It's honestly a shame to see him go, but if there's one thing we can all still know, it's that it's thanks to him that we have such wonderful content, wonderful channels, and so many wonderful people to watch and enjoy. MatPat may no longer be the face to welcome us to them, but all in all, he's the one that brought us to them, or brought them to us, however you want to word it. Either way, let's hop in.
Yep, friends, you're not seeing things. The first video I'm doing as my final round of host on this channel is on Garten of effin' Banban. What sort of darkest timeline are we operating off of here?
Sorry about that, MatPat.
No, stop it. If I have 9 theories left before I hand things over to Tom, we are bringing back the classic intro.
Oh, yeah! Bing, 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 bing. Oh, yeah. It's been so long. I don't know why it's still lagging for you guys, but oh well. But bounce. Yeah.
That's the stuff. Hello,
Damn right
Internet.
it is.
Welcome to Game Theory, where in just a couple of weeks, I'm gonna be unburdened of Banban. Sorry, Tom, this one's your problem now.
Yep, I should have seen this coming.
Though to be fair, Banban is kind
Welcome,
of all our
Tom.
problem. At this point, it's kind of inescapable. It exploded onto the scene in such a big way last year that it was labeled as one of YouTube's top 10 trends of 2023, right
Wow,
alongside
really?
Peaches from the Mario movie, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, and the Grimace Shake.
Are you kidding? God,
Oh,
you just got the month wrong. This is from a different month.
Okay, the answer for this round is Garten of Banban.
And yet, here we
Oh,
stand,
boy.
at the 1-year anniversary of the first
Hey, hold on, folks. Be right back. Right, forgot for a second that once you start recording, you can't change any of the settings. So I'll deal with that after this. So, deal
Garten
with
of
it, folks.
Banban game with the latest installment just released. So I guess we're just gonna talk about it until Poppy comes out, which will probably be a lot better. After what
Oh, yeah,
feels
most
like an
likely.
eternity for this franchise. Let me check my notes. 4 months. The 5th installment of this game series dropped, naturally
4
titled
months,
Garten of
man.
Banban 6. And relative to the rest of the series, episode 6 is pretty tame. Episode 4 ended with a jester named Bitter Giggle making Queen Bouncelia laugh, causing her giant kangaroo pouch to erupt into a sky beam which
Oh,
released the
no.
naughty ones. Episode 6 deals with the fallout of all those words I just said,
Ooh,
where we
look at
have to
those little
face the leader
things.
of the naughty ones, Sir Dadadoo, using his mind control powers to take over the other mascots of the kindergarten.
Oh,
and
no.
we also get hit by a bus several times. Wasn't this a game about looking for our lost kid in a kindergarten? Whatever happened to that? But
Yeah, if you remember in another video, I had kind of reacted to, Press Start to Laugh, Chapter 6 of Going to Banban. And he did the whole, wait, is that the right buzz? Oh, God!
here's the thing. For as much as I joke
It's
about
a
this
good
game
day.
being lol so random,
Kinda.
the Euphoric brothers are smart. As we talked about in a previous theory, skipping the 5th installment was actually a big brain move on their part, in both the marketing and storytelling departments. And it showed me that there's actual thought and attention put into the way that this thing's being structured. And it was that realization that got me to go back and rethink all the insane things that this game throws at us. And of all the ridiculous, over-the-top, what the heck were they thinking moments in this game, none can compare to the dream sequences that we've been getting since Chapter 3.
Oh, yeah, those things are crazy. Freaking Choo Choo Charles up in this.
Choo Charles. Yep.
Oops. Hold on, kids. We'll be right back. And we're back.
What?
Yeah, these insane fever dreams of
Yeah.
storytelling, talking about beaches and
This jellyfish has been smoking some stuff, if you know what I
featuring
mean.
cameos from other indie franchises. These seem to have more method to their madness than any of us gave them credit for. I mean, when the Euphoric Brothers' main goal seems to be pumping out as many games as possible, as quickly as possible, it's weird for them to purposely spend a lot of time putting these things into the games just for the lulz, which means that they have to be important for some reason, right?
Maybe.
So what are these dream sequences, really? Why are we being shown them? And can they potentially reveal the solution to the kindergarten's largest mystery? I believe the answer is yes. And today, I'm gonna prove it to you. So
Yeah, okay.
before we figure out what exactly is going on here, we first need to remember what exactly these things are. In every instance, we're shown these dreams by the giant jellyfish, Stinger Flynn. This guy has been a bit of a question mark the entire series. Is he good? Is he bad? It's not exactly clear. When we first meet
He
him in
just wants
Chapter
to
3,
be
he
a mindless
basically tells us to
jellyfish.
give up on our quest to find our lost child child because he's cooked up
that's
a
it.
scheme to get him and all the other children out of the facility safely. He tells us he's gonna show us something that's gonna totally convince us to stop looking for our kid, and instead he takes us into the first dream sequence where we're on a deserted island alongside him, talking about his lack of a tan.
I have never had actual sun rays touch my skin. Can you imagine that? And I yearn for the day that they finally do.
He then goes on to
does
complain
look
about
like
his
he's been punched in
hyper-intelligence
the eye.
and talk about how he yearns to be just a normal jellyfish. Sorry, what does any of this have to do with my missing kid? Before we leave, though, he does make one thing clear.
Of course, none of this is real, but it all could be.
Okay, so let's interpret what's going on with this first dream. This place, this beach,
Alright,
it isn't
go
real.
ahead.
It's where he wishes to be and where he was destined to be when he was just a bunch of jellyfish DNA. That right there might seem obvious, but I don't know, man. I don't expect anyone to retain lore information about this game, let alone
Yeah,
symbolically
it's a little
dissect what the
difficult.
glowing orange monotone jellyfish is saying during his underground dream sequence monologue as a giant sock puppet looms in the distance. This is the first dream, and it's
Hello,
showing us what
Zolphius.
freedom looks like to Flynn. Besides him saying that he wants to escape and then showing us the beach that he wants to be real, we also see him standing next to a car. The car has always been a representation of freedom, especially when you're talking about kids. Finally getting to drive yourself wherever you wanted,
yeah.
whenever you wanted, unrestrained by parents. A car equals freedom. And Stinger
That
Flynn,
makes a lot
in
of
his
sense.
dream, drove himself to this beach. He wants to take control of his destiny and find his personal freedom. Easy. Nothing too difficult to parse in this one. Still not entirely sure how it applies to my missing kid, but we'll move on. In future dreams, Stinger Flynn isn't the only one who's trying to escape. For the second dream, we've got Banban, Opila Bird, Nab Nab, and Captain Fiddles all alongside him going through the desert
Hello, the captain.
looking for that proverbial beach. Feels kind of like a metaphor for this whole kindergarten facility, right? A barren wasteland with no real sense of direction, and most importantly, no end in sight. It's also worth noting in this one that Stinger Flynn is the only one to truly be aware of the freedom that could await them.
So, Stinger, when are we arriving at this place called Beach?
Notice that Banban uses quotations around the word beach here, because he doesn't understand it. He doesn't know what freedom truly is. Freedom isn't his goal.
Actually, as we have been shown before, he has retained pretty much all of his memories from the DNA host of Dr. Uthman, who, you know, is the human DNA host that helped created Banban. So I think it's just because it's in the dream world, he's playing dumb, because to Stinger Flynn, he is dumb. I mean, that just makes a bit of sense.
But,
guy was
you
a
know,
human.
he's more than willing to go along for the ride.
Oh, well,
Instead,
half
Stinger
human.
Flynn is the driver. He's the one leading the charge. He's the one literally and figuratively driving them all towards freedom. There's just one problem with that. Stinger gets lost. He doesn't actually have any idea where this beach is.
I believe we are lost.
We've been going in circles for hours.
Despite wanting freedom and saying he has a plan to get everyone out of the facility, Stinger Flynn is clueless. He has no idea how to reach his end goal.
Sweat.
He's just stuck in the purgatory alongside everyone else. And this is where things begin to fall apart. Flynn
Hey,
crashes the
Zolphius.
car, and as we see in the next dream sequence, the
Oh,
group end
Zolphius.
up sitting around the wreckage, sharing whatever
However
food they
you wanna
have left.
pronounce it.
Oh, and Zolphius is here now, just
Oh.
looming out in the background.
There you go, Zolphius. That's what he looks like? Huh. Yeah, I mean, okay.
Standing there, menacingly!
In this scene, we see how desperate
At
the
least he
group is
doesn't have
getting,
eyes.
specifically Stinger Flynn.
We each have our plans and goals, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter.
He's basically ready to give up. That is, until a surprise guest shows up, Choo Choo Charles. And while the
What
Charles
the-
cameo itself feels unbelievably random, the actions that the other characters take, they don't. Stinger decides to capture a rescued Banban. Nab Nab, meanwhile, confronts the train head-on to protect everyone. This is actually a series of events that we see repeat again in the dream sequence from Chapter 6. We see the crew all waiting
Oh,
for a
yeah.
bus to take them to the beach, only for Captain Fiddles to be kidnapped
Yoink.
by a different bus. Nab Nab tries to go after him and
Yeah.
is hit by a third bus, leaving the rest of the gang stranded, only for us to then be hit
Wait,
by
what
a
the hell?
fourth
Ah!
bus. What's important to note in this bizarre sequence is Nab Nab's action. In both dreams, he runs in and tries to protect the other mascots. And what do we see at the end of Chapter 6? Banban in trouble at the hands of Sir Dadadoo, and Nab Nab stepping in to protect them all. Well, I
Let's
say
walk
he stepped in.
together.
If I'm being thorough, I would say that he was injected with the chemical Givanium and yeeted away, at which point he transforms into a giant Dark Souls boss and tears the naughty ones away, only to then lose and fall under the group mind control spell. So really,
Where is
all
he,
of that is
though?
what
I
we saw
don't
in the
see
dream
him.
sequence coming true. Nab Nab stepping in to help, but ultimately getting hurt in the process.
Oh,
And
you
see-
know, hold on. Let me just say one thing real quick before anyone else does. That is not Nab Nab. That's Nab Nabalina. You can tell because there's a damn bow on her head. And the fact it's not a giant, massive spider like Nab Nab would be. So, there's your correction. Don't try me. Give it a moment.
This is
There we
where the
go.
pieces started to click into place for me. If Nab-Nab's fate from the dream came true, what other clues can we get from these things? Well, throughout the game, we've been collecting case reports full of lore. Lore that tells us
Shadow
about the
monkey.
experiments done to create these living mascots.
Oh, right,
Almost
Jumbo
all of
Josh.
them end up with a very specific goal in mind. Is the subject ready for presentation? This presentation isn't a presentation for stockholders or investors, rather
Nope.
it's a presentation to parents and children. The fateful Bring a Friend Day, where the kindergarten ball pit collapses into the depths under the weight of the visitors. Most cases that we read about have been deemed not ready for presentation. However, there's one experiment that was considered enough of a success to present to the parents. Captain Fiddles, the one who was stolen into the bus. These dreams actually
okay.
mean something. According to his case update report, while the captain's incapable of comprehensible speech, he showed exceptional stamina. He could perform simple mathematical operations, but most importantly of all, he imitated the behavior of a very obedient toddler. He was the best that the scientists had to offer. And so, as we see in one of the secret
Okay.
VHS tapes, Captain Fiddles was presented to the children on Bring a Friend Day, which means that he had to be separated from the rest of the gang, just like we're seeing in the dream. Think about all the imagery that we're
Now it's
seeing
making
in this
sense.
Chapter 6 dream. We see Captain Fiddles get kidnapped by a bus. If a car represents freedom in these dream sequences, then a bus, public transportation, is a symbol of authority and control. It's a representation of the kindergarten staff, the scientists, the
I can see
system
that.
that these mascots find themselves trapped in. When they couldn't find freedom on their own, when they got lost and crashed their car, they instead had to begin playing along with the scientists and their experiments. If they did as they were told, maybe they would have a chance to escape, to finally reach that freedom, only for them to
Okay,
constantly be
okay.
told that they weren't ready for presentation. But
making
Captain
sense.
Fiddles, he was. And so without warning, he's suddenly ripped away from the rest. This also explains why we've only ever seen Zolphius from a distance. In our previous theory, I spoke about how two scientists working at the facility created this big worm Zolphius in a failed attempt to use a real kid to create the perfect child. A child that they would never be able to have naturally. But when the experiment was over, his face was deformed. His body didn't come together correctly. And so he was relegated to becoming one of the rejected mascots alongside Sir Dadadoo and Bittergiggle. In fact, that's exactly what we
Yeah,
see in
I
the
can see
teaser for
that.
Banban Chapter 7. A mural of Zolphius alongside these
Whoa, look at that. Zolphius, Bittergiggle, the Sturgeon, and Kitasaurus, even so Dadadoo. And of course, Takatoma and Takakoma. I don't remember the names. It was something like that.
weird hybrid reject characters. These are the ones that are marked as permanently not ready for presentation. The ones that we learn through a note in Chapter 6 are planning a rebellion against the scientists. But Zolphius is in that first dream sequence with Stinger Flynn. Apparently all he wants is freedom, to be with other children, to be accepted, but he knows that he can't be. He is the reject.
He's
so
just
he just
so
keeps
massive
his
as
distance,
hell.
watching and hoping that maybe he can follow him to freedom, but never really feeling comfortable enough to really get to know anyone else. So the big question now is, why is Stinger Flynn showing us this? And also, why do we just get hit by a bus? Well, remember,
What
in the
does
game
that
we're
actually
playing as a
mean?
parent that's trying to recover our lost child. And yet, at every turn, Stinger Flynn is quick to remind us that we're making a bad decision and that we should probably go home.
I wanted to let you know that this is all happening because of you. I would be free of my shackles, and everyone you hurt would not have been hurt.
You
Because
never
of
know
your
about that.
foolish decisions, we are even less likely now to ever get back to the children.
Our stubbornness, our ceaseless quest to find our child, it's hurting everyone around us. And in Stinger's mind, will ultimately be futile. It's the exact same thing that we're seeing in the dream sequences. Stinger Flynn has a goal of freedom that he's relentlessly pursuing, and it looks like he's hurting his friends. Banban's in trouble. They're getting kidnapped. They're getting hit by buses. It's
Oh,
also clear
damn.
that trying to recover the kidnapped Captain Fiddles immediately gets Nab-Nab injured. Apparently, those who try to recover others in this world are ultimately struck down. Basically, we're on a
that's
collision
painful.
course with ourselves. We're destroying everyone and everything around us in this relentless pursuit of this one thing, hence why this bus hits us at the end of the dream. The dream also
Oh,
shows
no,
us the
bus.
evolution of Banban and Stinger Flynn's relationship. Throughout the series, it's clear that Banban and Stinger aren't exactly friends. In fact, during
Oh, yeah, not
Chapter
even
3,
close.
Stinger Flynn gets mad at us for even working with Banban to find our missing kid. But as Flynn keeps showing us more and more of these visions of past events, it's clear that he and Banban used to be friends. At least friendly enough for Flynn to have brought Banban along on his little escape plan in the first place. But as things get worse and worse, we see the deterioration of their relationship. They are arguing non-stop.
You had one job and you messed that up somehow.
If Jumbo Josh was here, he would have loved those vegetables.
I am pretty content that he's not gracing us with his irritating presence.
Why
Oh,
do you
what did
hate
the
him
big
so
green
much?
guy
It
do?
gets so bad that Banban decides that he doesn't even want the freedom that Flynn is offering anymore.
What are we even doing all of
holidays. I don't want to go to the beach anymore. I just want to go back.
And to really nail home this connection, the Euphoric Brothers had a song commissioned specifically for the dream car sequence.
Hold on, everyone. I'll be right back. Sorry about that, everyone. Let's go.
A song
There we
titled
go.
Rivals. In that song's music video, created by the nerdcore channel Rocket Music, the titular rivals are none other than Flynn and Banban, a song that Banban seems to really like.
That's what I'm talking about.
The lyrics of the song seem to be pointing at the moment that their relationship truly began to fall apart. In it, we have lyrics like, "Don't tell me I got time for an eye, don't take another life from me." Considering the song is from the perspective of Banban, it would seem that Stinger Flynn took a life from him. But what life is that? What could that be meaning? Well, it's important to remember that
original
most of the
Dr.
monsters
Uthman?
in this game are a mix of human genome and Givanium. For Banban, we know his human genome came from Dr. Uthman Adam, the head researcher at Banban's kindergarten. This is also the scientist who, alongside Dr. Weverly Mason, tried to create the child that they would never be able to have, only for it to turn into a monster. Meanwhile, Stinger Flynn, we still don't know much about, honestly. We don't know who his human genome donor was. We don't know what they did. What we do know is that according to this little kid drawing found in Chapter 2, Stinger helped to save kids from a rampaging Banban on the loose during Bring Your Friend Day. So really, this line about stolen lives can boil down to one of three things. One, Stinger Flynn was the human who put Uthman Adams' genome into Banban
Oop. Hold on. We'll be right back. And we're back.
in the first place, stealing his
Only a
human
couple
life,
seconds.
and he's mad about it. Option 2 is that Stinger stole or harmed the child that Uthman created, and then there's option number 3. On Bring a Friend Day, we know Banban went on a rampage. We also see hints of this in Chapter 5's preview images. Maybe Stinger, by saving that group of kids for his own unclear and suspicious motivations, literally took those lives away from Banban. Regardless the reason, I suspect that the next few chapters are going to give us some more dream sequences that'll start depicting these events, leading to the
wait to
realization that
see it.
Banban, the mascot that we thought we could trust, was the one that caused the ball pit to collapse on Bring a Friend Day. That he was the one that caused our child to disappear and sent us into the abyss trying to find them. But you know
Yeah,
what? That's
of
not the
course
only
he's a
mystery
bad
that we
guy.
have left. During the dream cutscenes, whose perspective are we playing through? Naturally, you might assume that we're still in the perspective of the parent that we're playing as throughout the rest of the game. Or maybe we're
That
not
would make
any
sense.
character at all, that we're just some random floating camera observing these things happening. But that doesn't make a whole lot of sense within the scenes themselves. First off, Banban, Stinger, Flynn, and the rest of the gang, they talk directly to our character.
Hey, you. You're finally awake.
You sure are a sleepy fellow.
Morning, sleepy fellow.
We are a part of these dreams. We're watching this from the
are we?
perspective of someone in the gang. So then, who are we? My first thought was that perhaps we're Jumbo Josh, but I was able to rule that one out pretty quickly thanks to
yeah.
this line from the campfire dream.
Man,
If Shabu Josh was here, he would have loved those vegetables.
The next possibility was Bambolina, but that one was also quickly shot down.
Finally, you're waking up. I was getting really bored, and that fella over there isn't much of a talker.
If Bambolina was really part of Stinger Flynn's escape crew, then she would obviously know that Nab Nab is not a talker. Banban wouldn't be
Yeah.
needing to give her this sort of information, which means that whoever we are, we're someone new, or someone who doesn't know this group all that well, and that's
Who are
shockingly
we?
rare to come by. I mean, almost all the characters that we've met so far have known each other, or at least have known about each other in some form. Toadster in Chapter 4 even has a poster of every character, including the Chapter 7 character Syringian, who we still haven't met in the games yet. Everyone knows everyone, except for maybe one. There is one character
are
that
we?
has been kept a secret this whole time. The one we also suspect was at Bring a Friend Day with Banban, the perfect child. This child was purposely
what?
kept hidden, not just from the experiments, but from everyone. Quote from one of the lore documents. We have to turn it back around if we want our little secret down in the basement to stay a secret. Eventually, the child was thrown into the mix with the other mascots because a follow-up note says, not to mention how dangerous it is to keep him around all those other monstrosities. This child has been with Banban and his
Whoa.
crew for a while, which is why it makes sense for him to be traveling with the rest of the group in these dream sequences. And this then seems to point to the crux of this whole game franchise. At its core, it isn't about purple kangaroos or spider blobs or pancreases,
Okay.
pancreai, whatever the plural is. It's about family,
Pancreas
the
is
love
what
of
I'd
two
say.
scientists desperate for a child, the love of one parent searching for her lost kid, and it's about the tragedy that comes when you're separated from those children. Stinger Flynn potentially takes away Banban's kid on Bring a Friend Day, sending him into a rampage. This then
Damn.
prompts the overstuffed ball pit to collapse, leading to the catastrophic situation in which our character finds herself. So
And that's
laugh
chapter
all
1.
you want about the weird, veiny mascots with dumb names and stiff animations. At its core, this is a human story told through weird, esoteric dream sequences, poorly written text documents, and monotone monologues. But if you manage to get through all of that and the strange and often boring gameplay, underneath you have something beautiful. Or, you know, maybe not beautiful, but at the very least it's interesting. Or if not interesting,
kind of
at the
pretty.
very least you have yourself a theory. A game theory. Thanks for watching.
Alright, well, I gotta say, that was kind of an interesting one, and, you know, of course, very interesting to watch. So, anyway, folks, that's going to be the end of today's video. I hope you all enjoyed this. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more. Link to the original will be in the description below, and I'll see all you folks next time when we flick on. Peace out.